Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Move United 2020 Fall Competition Meetings. This second session is focused on swimming. My name is Shelley Fazzini, and I'm a competition manager with Move United. For you who may have missed any of today's sessions or any of the previous sessions, they are all being recorded and they will be made available on the Move United website at the end of all of the sessions. So we hope to have those out to you, available to you next week, and we'll send you a link so that you can easily access those. Before I turn it over to our presenters today, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Our group is fairly small. We do ask that you use the chat and keep your mic on mute. But if you would like to address a question personally rather than using the chat feature, go ahead and unmic yourself. We just ask that you don't interrupt the speakers. We will have time at the end of this session for some Q&A. We have multiple sessions going on today, so we're going to have to be strict about the 45 minutes. If we get to the end of the 45 minutes and there are still questions or information that you may be requesting, we are recording the chat, so you can just record those in the chat and we'll make sure that we get back to you on those either today or in a very short period of time. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our speakers, Glenn and Charlene, and I would ask that you please introduce yourself for the audience that we have here today and let them know a little bit about yourself.
Hey, good afternoon. I am Glenn O'Sullivan. I have been with Adaptive Sports USA probably since 2005, been involved with the swimming and on the board of directors 08 to 2017. So looking forward to this move over to Move United and working with everybody, continuing to work with everyone.
Hi, my name is Char. I go by Char. It's Charlene, but I go by Char. So, but I answer to both. I've been involved with swimming since 1998, I believe, when my kids started swimming. I've been an official with USA Swimming, and I'm a trainer for officials. In 2011, I got involved with World Para Swimming, and I've been a World Para and a US Para official since then. And I'm also a trainer for officials in US Para Swimming. So excited to kind of make the leap into adaptive sports. I've done a lot of things with wounded warriors and military, but this is probably the first thing that I've done directly with adaptive sports.
So today's agenda, welcome everybody. We're going to cover the rules of the sports, combining of talking about where the rules are coming from, what the swim rules are. We'll also talk about the exception codes. There have been some new things coming up with classification on the exception codes, and then some quick tips, and then our standards for the junior nationals, and our records and results. And we'll have some information on the resources that you can look up, or contacting us. So our first thing we're going to talk about is the rule book, and the link right there, Adaptive Sports USA. It will be moving over to Move United. The rule book was written, it has a little bit of USA Swimming, has a little bit of US Paralympics, but the most important part, the swimming rules themselves follow under World Para rules. So This is the Adaptive Sports webpage for swimming. And right there, you can see that's an article I wrote a few years ago about it, about a swimmer working with swimmers with disabilities. Pretty good article to pass on to your swimmers and coaches and officials that are brand new to working with adaptive sports.
Is there any place else you would like me to go on
That's
this
what I
page,
was looking
Glenn?
for.
If you
No,
go
our-
down and click on, sorry, Glenn, if you
Nope.
click on the adaptive sports where the rule book is, that will direct you direct to the world, the rule book that you'll want to follow.
Yeah. So the rule book right here is setting up, getting your pool set up for a swim meet. It's talking about the swim rules. It goes through all the different strokes and classification.
You tell me
Most-
when you want me to move on, Glenn.
No, most of you are familiar with the rule book, but this is where it's at. We can go on to classification. Everyone always has questions about classification. We're not going deep into that, but we're going to talk about the rule exceptions. When officiating a swim meet, we have the athletes are swimming, they're following the rules, but there are some rule exceptions for the different disabilities. And so the athletes, so the officials are judging on what they see. And I'm going to let Shar go into the rule exceptions.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. We have the athletes are put into 14 different categories. Their 1 through 10 is their functional, 11, 12, and 13 are the visual, and 14 is the intellectual impairments. So as officials, we look at the rules and we judge by the rules and only the rules. We don't do anything with classification. That's on Glenn's side. We take who's in the pool and we look at what they are doing as they are swimming. So there's a variety of different things that we look at. For all the rules are following World Para Swimming rules, and US Para has adopted those, but they come directly from USA Swimming as well. So for example, we're looking, one of the things that was changed was the breaststroke and butterfly rules. When a swimmer is swimming with, and we're looking for the arms, if a swimmer with an arm length difference, or a swimmer who can't reach forward because of maybe a shoulder impairment, we are looking at what the swimmer is doing during the swim. The codes of exceptions then will tell us what we're looking for. So if the swimmer says they can swim with both arms, but choose to swim with only one, then that's all we look at is the one arm. And so that code of exceptions has already told us this swimmer is choosing to swim with one arm. If they swim with that one arm, that's all we look at. And then we see that it's a one-hand touch. Now, if a swimmer can swim with both arms and chooses to swim with both arms, they must do so through the entire race, and then they must touch with both arms. So that's one of the things that we're looking at for breaststroke and butterfly, and that's the rule change. It used to be that they, could change between one arm or two arms and touches and stuff, but no longer. They have to either swim with one arm and touch with one arm, or they swim with both arms and touch with both arms. Now, the one thing that we also know, though, is if a swimmer chooses to swim with one arm, they can touch with both. But if they touch with both, it has to be a legal touch. That means two-hand touch at above or below the water line. So we're looking at the one arm, the functioning arm. And I'll go a little bit more into that when I look at the codes of exceptions and explain that to you. But that's one of the things that has just been changed with the classifiers, is looking at the swimmer. Now, the other thing with the breaststroke and the butterfly is that if they choose to swim with one arm, they must stay horizontal to the plane of the surface of the water. This became controversial for a little bit because a lot of swimmers who are swimming only with one arm, they have that strength, and so their body naturally tilts to the one side, and they cannot do that. They have to be flat on the surface of the water, horizontal to the surface of the plane. So that's two really big things that we're looking at on breaststroke and butterfly, is the one arm, and that's in the codes of exception. If they swim with one arm, they have to be horizontal and they have to touch. The other thing that we have for athletes is they have a light or a start signal for an impaired athlete. They can also have an assistant if they choose to have so. And again, this is going to be noted in the information in the heat sheet. So we know that they have the light or a hearing, a light or a start signal for the hearing impaired, or a touch. But we also will use our hand motions no matter what, okay, so that they are also aware of that. One of the other things that we look at is the assistance. Athletes who have an assistant, it will be notified in their classification. So any athlete who needs an assistant for whatever reason, will know that ahead of time. And we just allow that to be out there because that's what the classifiers has told us. And they have an assistance for a variety of different things, for starts, for balance, for assistance onto the blocks, for holding their feet at the start, a lot of things like that. One other thing that we look at based on what the classifiers have told us is start exceptions. Start exceptions can be a variety of things. We have 5 or 6 things that we look at. They can do a typical start on the blocks. They can stand next to the blocks. They can sit on the blocks. They can sit on the edge of the pool. They can do an in-water start. The lowest classifications, 1, 2, and 3, can do feet starts. So again, a variety of different starts. Not everybody starts on the blocks. Again, the classifiers have told us how these athletes start, and so that's what we look at. So one of the things about officials that is very important that you know is that we don't do anything with classification. We take the swimmers as what they're told to us, and if we have a question, we go back to the classifiers. Tappers, an S12 swimmer, that is the ones that are the legally blind, the most, well, they're the S12, has to have a tapper. And it has to be on both ends of the pool, 2 different tappers. They cannot have, or is that S11, Glenn? I think that's
S11.
S11, I'm sorry, I misspoke, S11. They have to have tappers, one on both ends of the pool. They can't have one tapper that runs from end to end, but they will have 2 tappers. There are also other athletes that may have tappers, and again, the classifiers have a reason as to why that athlete will have tappers. So these are a variety of different things. Shelley, if you can click on the exceptions page there so that people can see that.
Give me just a minute here.
Sure.
We've got a lot of stuff open.
We do. The classification or the codes of exception page is a 2-page. I'll just kind of address that as she's bringing that up. It's a 2-page document, and the first part of that page talks about the starts, and that has to do again with you know, the assistants or hearing impaired, or if they can't grip for the backstroke start or whatever, and those kind of things are noted. So, and that really works with the starter, and the deck ref are the ones who really pay attention to that for the most part. During the swim, this is what the officials look at. The one-hand start. The 2 and 3 and the 4 or 5 are the ones that are new. 2 and 3 talk about the breaststroke. If you're going to do a one-hand touch, that's because you swam with one arm. If you do a number 3, you can swim with one arm or with 2, but you have to have a simultaneous intent to touch. And that might be because you have a shortened limb or a shoulder restriction or something like that. Butterfly is the same thing. If you have a 4, it's a one-hand touch. That's because they swam with one arm all the way through. A 5 says that they will do a simultaneous intent to touch, and they swam with either one arm or two arms. Whatever they choose to do on the 3 and the 5, if they choose to swim with two arms, they must do that all the way through. They can't go back and forth between 1 and 2. With the 2 and the 4, where it's the one-hand touch, that's telling us that they swam with one arm. And again, what we look at that one is that then they're on the horizontal plane all the way through the swim. The rest of the things are the same kind of things with the butterfly, with the feet. If the feet are turned out, or if a foot is dragging, we know that's because they're either not using that foot or that leg, or they're can't use it in a normal intent, you know, with both feet turned out or whatever. So those are the kind of things the classifiers have told us what they're doing. If you'll go down a little bit further to the next page, this page here now explains things in much greater detail. And so this is the one that I want you to focus on when you're looking at training your athletes and things like that. What it is that as officials that we're actually really paying attention to when the classifiers have told us what the athletes will do. All of these things are noted on our heat sheet so that, you know, we know what's there. If there's a question, the meet referee or and in this case, I'm going to be the meet referee for the meet. If there's a question that a call has come through, Glenn and I work as class. He's a classifier and I'm the meet referee. He's told me what these athletes can and cannot do. And so if there's some kind of question, I go to him before the call is either accepted or overturned, because I want to make sure that we have complete information from the classifier. Because some of the officials, where they've all been trained in this, sometimes will make a call and not have complete information. They've observed what they saw in the pool, but then that's my job to go to the classifier and say, you saw, you know, you've done all this information with the athlete getting the classification. Give me everything you know before I either accept or overturn the call. And again, all the rules, we look at the rules that are in the rule book, and then we look at the codes of exceptions. But we look at what we are doing swimming wise first. We look at the rules first. We observe the swimmer in the pool. They make a decision based on the rule. Then they'll look at the exception to say, is this something that follows through with the exception or not? And then it comes to me before it's gone all the way through. Quick overview. If you have questions on that, go ahead and put that in. I can answer things right now if there's anything. So if there's no questions, Glenn, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay, we're going to go on to, if Shelley, if you can pull up the swimming quick competition, quick tips. So most of you will be responsible for, or will be getting information starting organizing a swim meet. So depending on what level swim meet you are looking at, we have three levels for swimming. A level 1 must be at least a 25 or 25 meter pool, have at least one certified official. Does not have to be a para official, just has to be a YMCA, USA Swimming, high school official. And you may use hand timing, use it with a minimum of 2 timers per lane. You can use a whistle or starting. Taking it up for the a level 2 is minimum having 2 certified officials. That adds that. Having a lap counters for the longer swimmers of 500 or more. And then what we're looking for, pressing for, is that level 3. A 50 meter pool is desired, is taking that next level up. But it also must be able to be converted into a 25 meter pool for those, our B standard which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and must have a minimum of 4 officials. 2 of them must have World Para certification and electronic timing, electronic starter. So, and then with that is following the rules and regulations, the World Para swimming rules. And we have any questions on that? But that's in the do believe it's in the rule book. And we're ready for the next page. And this next page has information on what equipment is needed, having mats placed on the pool deck. Talks about the classification. And we've already discussed some of the classification with the physical disabilities 1 through 10. Their breaststroke is SB 1 through 9, and then medley is SM 1 through 10. We're not going to get too much into that because on Friday, we get to do more classification information. And then down below is a sample event schedule if you're having, whether you're having 1 session or 2 sessions. For us, for junior nationals, we do 2 sessions, where my goal later on down the line is have 2 sessions of short course and 2 sessions of long course, but that takes more time. So we usually end up having 1 day of short course, and then the following day will be the long course. And our next, and our officials, we're always looking to grow our officials. So we bring in the USA Swimming or YMCA certified officials, and we depend on that World Para and classifiers to pass on the information about what they are looking for, getting them used to officiating athletes with disabilities. And it has the minimum requirements for a referee, a starter, the 2-stroke and turn. And below that is our age divisions. We have our futures, our under 11s, our under 14s, under 17, under 20, and 23. So open division can be adults or any others. No, we go on to that next one. So junior nationals qualifying standards. We do have an A standard and a B standard. The A standard is at closer to elite for the long course pools. And we have the B standard. The B standard is not going anywhere. The B standard is what Adaptive Sports USA started with. We are maintaining it. It will always be available for swimmers, but we want them to take that next step and go after those A standards. And with the long course pool, it need to have a better swimming ability. So we can get swimmers into that long course. To swim a long course swim, swimmer must meet at least 1 A standard. If they meet that 1 long course A standard, they can swim another 2 events. So a total of 3 events in long course. If they have 2 A standard times, they can swim up to 5 events in the long course. If they have 3 or more, then they may swim all the events in long course. For junior nationals, it is 7 events total between long course and short course that the swimmers may swim. Next screen. There it is. So you have the 7 events, and they also may swim 2 relay events. Athletes will have from August 1st, 2020 until Move United junior nationals registration to meet the swim standards, and they may be met with through regional events with Adaptive Sports USA, USA Swimming, high school, collegiate, or U.S. World Para Swimming competitions. There is some information on converting the times, but we have enough charts out there, especially with long course, to be able, you don't have to do any conversions. And we're going to go to that nice chart with their 2020 Junior National Swimming Standards. And we just talked about.
Yeah, scroll through that.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. So you're looking for a lot of information. There is 10 pages of this. But you're looking for, each page has, this page that you're looking at has short course yards, what they swam in, whether they swam a short course yard time, a short course meter, or a long course meter. So it has a lot of information on there. So you figure out what pool they swam in. So if they swam, okay, I swam a 50, we'll just go right here at the top. We did a 50-yard freestyle in a short course yard pool. I have find my class 1 through 14. And then the first column right here is the Can-Am. That is the time to swim in a US Para Can-Am meet. But then we have the age groups are under 20 and 23, U17, U14, U7 and 11. And that's for if we'll scroll down, this first page is all freestyle. And then it's spaced down into backstroke, butterfly, breaststroke, and then butterfly, and then IMs. And this is it. And then the next page down will be the females. So keep scrolling. It's and I do believe at the bottom of this will be the B standards. Standards are a little set up a little bit different. I am working on a new putting it in Excel, so it will be similar to the A standards, but looking for, you've got the class on the right here, their age group, male and female, and then you find the event that you are looking for swim standard time. So this goes through all this does looking through the classes all the way down, finding the class and then your age group. So let's say right here. So S10 use under 07 or 11, and then right across is for your times. So this will be updated. I'm not a lot of numbers moving, but we're bringing it to an Excel so it can be moved around a little bit better. And then we can go back into our back to the PowerPoint. So we just talked about qualifying standards. Up to total, it may swim up to 7 events, 2 of them in relays, their times, and our next page. Records, swim results. We try to get the swim results out as soon as the meet is complete. For junior records, the athletes may set records only at junior nationals. It's been like that so that we have the athletes are officiated, and right now they're set at junior national records. I try to get them updated as soon as I can after junior nationals. If you can pull up that page. And all the records are, you have the three sections. You will have long course records, short course records, which are the meters, and yard records, and they're all by finding the event. Okay, stop right here. Finding the event, so 200 freestyle. You can look into the names and the classes, what year the event was, the record was broken, age group. So this is also found on the Adaptive Sports USA website, and will be moving over to the Move United. And we can go back to PowerPoint. And while we're bringing that up, national adult records are maintained by US Paralympics. Those records, if an adult sets a record at a regional swim meet that has the proper officials, there is a form that they submit to US Paralympics to get the record into the record book. And there's a link right there, teamusa.org, US Para Swimming. I always cheat and go US Paralympics, and that will bring me right to that Team USA and find that swimming. So, and general resources, we have US Paralympics. That is where most of our rules are, information on taking that next step within the United States, on going from that junior nationals into the US Para. A lot of good information. And then World Para and USA Swimming. And here's our Director of Operations, Susan Rossi, Jessica Cloy, Shelley, and you've already met Shelley. She started out with the introductions to this event. And myself and Shar we're always available for questions. And Erin Popovich is the US Paralympics Associate Director at US Paralympics. Her email is there, and she will know. She has a lot of good information also. If you could, hit one of us up first. And then if we don't know the answer, we know who and where to turn to. And do we? 205.
So you had a question come in from Cindy. Cindy, can you hear me? Otherwise, I can read your question, but do you want to ask it? You're muted. I can read it for you. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cindy was asking, would there be consideration for accepting times beginning August 1st, 2019 because of COVID, with so many swim events canceled and not knowing what the season will look like going forward?
At this stage, I don't really have that much of a problem. I'm going to keep that door opened depending on how everything is flowing for the next 6 months. But I will keep, I'm planning on keeping that door open. I understand that totally.
Mhm. I agree.
That would be great. Thank you.
Are there any other questions on the rules, the codes of exceptions, finding your information? Anything that we can help you with?
Quiet group.
Well, let me just reiterate what Glenn said. You know, especially anything that has to do with the rules, please contact me, because I've been doing this and training the officials, and the team that will be bringing in is a team that has done things with me with Invictus, with Can-Ams, with Warrior Games, a variety of different championships, all the way from the meet. Well, the admin referee who has done those all the way down through the referees, starters, and officials. So we have a really strong team coming in, and hopefully I can expand that. But anything with the rules or exception codes, let me know. I won't be on the call on Friday because I already have another commitment, but Glenn has got the classification. He knows that forward and back. So.
Looking forward to seeing everyone on Friday. Any other questions, please?
Sharon, Glenn, thank you so much for your time. Super appreciate all of the resources and all of the information. Thank all of you for participating today. And we hope to see you in our next couple of sessions today and our classification session on Friday. So have a great afternoon. Appreciate all of you.